Our top story today from thegatewaypundit.com. Take them all out. A Zoomer Biden superfan tweets about military offing Trump and the Supreme Court justices following immunity ruling. Trump campaign responds. It's a lot worse than you thought, and there's a lot of threats to assassinate Trump. Here on the Gateway Pundits Weekend Review. My name's Elijah Schaffer, and the left is no stranger to insanity, but this time, en masse, they began to call for Trump's assassination. The Gateway Pundit reports, as Colin Linebarger explains. As the Gateway Pundit reported, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 along ideological lines in favor of President Donald Trump Monday morning, ruling that presidents are immune from criminal liability involving official acts during their tenure. The case, Trump v. United States, arose from narcissistic special counsel Jack Smith's corrupt indictment against Trump, who was falsely accusing the 45th president of conspiring to throw out the 2020 presidential election results. The garbage charges Smith has levied, including spreading claims of election fraud and attempting to obstruct certification of the election results. Trump's lawyers correctly countered that these actions were within his official duties as president. Therefore, he should be immune from prosecution. Following the ruling, elected Democrats and other leftists completely lost it. But Joe Biden's most prominent Generation Z supporter, Harry Sisson, who once interviewed him, issued a tweet that some would consider a threat against Trump and the Supreme Court. Specifically, the 21-year-old Sisson posted about Biden possibly sending in SEAL Team 6 to, quote, take them all out. After all, Biden would be immune from prosecution. According to the Supreme Court, Biden could now send in SEAL Team 6 to take them all out, wrote Sisson. He could send in the military to take out Trump. He has immunity for official acts now. Now, the SEAL Team 6 reference is an asinine hypothetical posited by D.C. U.S. Court of Appeals Judge Flo Pan during oral arguments back in January. Seemingly thinking ruling in Trump's favor would give him the authority to take out political opponents, the Supreme Court, of course, had no interest in that line of nonsense and overturned the federal appeals court's ruling that Trump did not have broad immunity from prosecution. Sisson's post caught the attention of Trump campaign manager Chris LaCivita, who responded, expect a visit. One would assume he meant a visit from the Secret Service. Sisson refused to back off his tweet and posted a video outrageously accusing LaCivita of threatening him, saying Trump's campaign manager, Chris, just responded to me saying, expect a visit. What do you think that means? Is the Trump campaign threatening me? And then he goes on to claim that it's his First Amendment right. Look, here's the thing. There was literally people out today, like large prominent accounts, calling for the assassination of Trump en masse, bombing SCOTUS. I just like to think that, the fact that we as conservatives, as right-wingers, are continually held up to a standard of which is at the highest degree. So we can't even, misspeak or misgender people without getting some sort of censorship, prosecution, a lawsuit, right? Oh, dare you make a joke around a feminist before you get, charged with harassment or some idiocracy in the workplace or even in school with your kids. It's the same thing, right? And we're held to these walking on eggshells, and they can go threaten the president, call for the other president to murder him, and they get off without any consequence. Insane. Our next story from thegatewaypundit.com, breaking, Trump wins. The Supreme Court rules 6-3 on the presidential immunity. I just mentioned it earlier, but I'd like to explain a little more. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled 6-3 that Trump had absolute immunity. It goes on here that the Supreme Court ruled there is no immunity for unofficial acts. Jack Smith's D.C. case against Trump will be delayed again as it bounces back down to the lower court to Judge Tanya Chutkan. The court rules for Trump. The court holds that the former president has absolute immunity for his core constitutional powers. Here is the ruling. You can read it there directly on the website. I'm not going to go through all of it, but you can find it. It's very long and it is interesting. Our next story from thegatewaypundit.com is one that is interesting. Kamala Harris was caught, then in return lying and got brutally fact-checked. Kamala Harris lies about Trump on X and then gets fact-checked by Community Notes, brutally called out by Musk. Lying on this platform doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. When will politicians, or at least the intern who runs their account, learn that lying on this platform doesn't work anymore? Here's what he has to say. The days when political leaders could take on to liberal Twitter, lie through their teeth about important issues, falsely slander their adversaries, and get away with it are over. At least that's what we are seeing being put into practice by X since Elon Musk took over the platform. In a new instance of this changed situation, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris or her team took to social media to lie about presidential election favorite Donald Trump. But it didn't go so well, very differently from the bad old days of Jack Dorsey-led Twitter. New York Post reported that Elon Musk called out Vice President Kamala Harris Monday for lying about former President Donald Trump's abortion stance while proclaiming that the social media platform's community notes feature keeps politicians accountable when trying to spread falsehoods. Harris on Sunday on her X account said that Trump would ban abortion nationwide, although he should. I agree with that, but he's not going to. And that she and President Biden will do everything in their power to stop him and restore women's reproductive freedom. In the olden days, Kamala would have gotten away with it, and worse, perhaps people criticizing her would be banned from the platform for some made-up reason. As things stand now on X, Kamala had her post flagged by a community note that reminded readers that President Trump has repeatedly said he will not sign a national abortion ban. It would be bad enough that the VP would get fact-checked by common citizens online in such a direct fashion, but there was more to come. The 188 million follower Elon Musk, owner of the platform, called her out in a brutal quote tweet, saying, "When will politicians, or at least the intern who runs her account, learn that lying on this platform doesn't work anymore?" Musk responded, and it doesn't. But apparently, they still continue to do so because they believe that they hold the power. Remember, during the Twitter leaks, the original Twitter files, when Musk bought it, it showed that, the United States government, Congress in particular, and the Biden administration was working hand in hand to censor Americans. I know it's not a shocker. And the court just ruled in favor of the government manipulating private companies in a 6-3 ruling against the Gateway Pundit and against free speech in this country. It's not looking good. Well, Trump responded to the historic ruling in the midst of all of this. Here's what he had to say. The landmark decision went on, as we've talked about, but in a detailed opinion, Chief John Roberts, writing for the majority, emphasized the necessity of protecting the president's ability to execute the duties of office without undue caution of fear of future prosecution. The court held that under the Constitution, a president must have some level of immunity to ensure the effective functioning of the executive branch. Now, Trump's legal team argued that these actions fell within the scope of his official duties. It is these enduring principles that guide our decisions in the case, he said. We talked about that earlier. Key points from the ruling are this: absolute immunity for core constitutional powers, presumptive immunity for other official acts, and no immunity for unofficial acts. It goes on to say that President Trump had asked the Supreme Court in February to pause the immunity ruling in Jack Smith's January 6th case in D.C. after a federal appeals court stacked with Biden judges denied Trump's presidential immunity claims. Now, the SCOTUS ruling is not just a personal victory for Trump, but a reinforcement of the constitutional framework designed by the founding fathers to protect the executive branch from undue judicial and legislative interference. Trump held the decision on Truth Social, stating, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American." And damn straight, it's nice to see a little light at the end of the tunnel. Lastly, Biden's response was kind of strange. Christina Lionel reports that Biden camp responds to SCOTUS immunity ruling with an unhinged statement attacking Trump. It goes on to say down here, if we can skip down as we've read a lot of this stuff already, that the Biden-Harris camp didn't take the Supreme Court's decision well. They issued an unhinged statement and attacked Trump with lies, saying, "Today's ruling doesn't change the facts. So let's be very clear about what happened on January 6th. Donald Trump snapped after he lost the 2020 election and encouraged the mob to overthrow the results of a free and fair election. Trump is already running for president as a convicted felon for the very same reason he sat idly by while the mob violently attacked the Capitol. He thinks he's above the law and is willing to do anything to gain and hold onto power for himself," they desperately claimed. The Biden camp absurdly claimed Trump is promising to be a dictator one day and once again floated the bloodbath hoax. This is coming from a guy who locked up his main political rival. Since January 6th, Trump has only grown more unhinged. He's promising to be a dictator on day one, calling for a constitution to be terminated so he can regain power, and promising a bloodbath if he loses. The American people already rejected Donald Trump's self-obsessed quest for power once. Joe Biden will make sure that they reject it for good in November, Biden-Harris said. It's absolute insanity. Let me know your thoughts on these stories down below. Apologies for my set or lack thereof. I am currently moved around the world and I'm moving my studio, so I'm kind of just broadcasting from wherever, hotels. I just moved into an apartment. They're moving furniture in, and I'm in a closet. No pun intended, since it is Pride Month. But thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to drop a comment and like this video. It really helps. And subscribe to our page at rumble.com, where the Gateway Pundit. You can watch all of our videos there. My name's Elijah Schaffer. Have a great rest of the week. May God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.